My name is Jack King. My pronouns are she, hers, and I work at Anaplan as a research and design operations manager. We came to Great Question because we were facing kind of an ecosystem of problems within the research and UX team at Anaplan. And effectively, what we were struggling to do was meet the breadth and depth of research that we needed to accomplish with the toolkit that we were currently working in, which was just incredibly spread out. I mean, there were a set of tools where everything had a slightly different function and they had to be built into a kind of single machine or workflow via a huge complexity of automations and interlocks. And what really attracted us to Great Question was the ability to have a single house for our end-to-end research process, which not only makes it easier on the researchers themselves, but also really spoke to our desire to have a really wonderful user experience for members of our research panel. So we're still in the setup phase right now, so there's plenty of runway to continue actualizing that, but that's what brought us to Great Question in the first place. So far, the experience of Great Question, which has been really wonderful, is solving a huge amount of our internal researchers' pain points. Which comes down to the sheer amount of time it takes to set up a study, recruit and invite participants to a given study based on a set of criteria, manage communications, manage calendar bookings. In the past, this was something at our organization that happened through a set of 4 to 5 different tools. And of course, within the relationship between each of those tools, there was a set of automations which had huge opportunity and potential for breakage or miscommunication. There was often just a great amount of drag when it came to both on a researcher side or on a researcher ops side, trying to troubleshoot just to get a study up and running. So it kind of streamlines the entire process of that workflow in an effort to give them the time and space to really focus on the research, on the who, the what, and the why versus the how. Right now, the anticipated value really comes from not only the streamlining of the toolkit from an operations perspective, which I must say I'm extremely excited about as a research operations manager. My toolkit documentation is about to improve drastically. But I think also from a researcher experience, the sense of not having to worry when invitations are set out or when communications are sent or calendar invites are sent, that something will break in the kind of in-between automation. I must say that as someone who did not have access to any of this in our past tooling, I am nerdily very excited about the eligibility settings that you can put in Great Question that effectively allow you to determine how frequently and based on a certain set of rules, how often a given panel member can be contacted for a study. I think that one of our goals as a research team is really to treat members of our panel as folks that we have a relationship with in a long-term context, not just as a random person that you might tap when it's convenient to us. The team at Great Question is really wonderful, and they're willing to work with you and have worked with me really closely to kind of push the procurement process across the finish line, make sure that we're comfortable in the tool. I mean, Sarah and Billy and Mike, huge shout outs to all of them over on that team. They've just gone through so many of my questions with me with an enormous amount of patience and partnership. And that's not something that you find at every organization that you're building a new partner and kind of tool relationship with. So in terms of that, which is where I've had the most experience and spent the most time with Great Question to date, I can say that they have a really wonderful team. Research is a complicated process, and I think it's complicated by nature, and it's not that it shouldn't be. I think the goal from an integrations perspective is to have more of a one-stop shop for where we manage the complexity of the research process at Anaplan. So from a research operations perspective, there have been times in the past few years where I'm logging into 3 different tools to try to find the source of an automation error or a problem, or where a communication is sending to a panel member that we want to update the language of or adjust or improve on. And what's really exciting to me and to my team about Great Question is the idea that we really know what our hub is for managing and distributing research communications. And it allows us to become increasingly pinpointed about how, when, and who we communicate with about research opportunities.